Right, we're going to have another wonderful mystical conversation about why the fuck people think everything's all of a sudden going to start without regulations. So, something else that I've never shared before. So, I took part in an Uber IPO 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. Currently sat at around about 10% down of what I originally put in. So, you know, lost about 5-6 grand on my original investment so far, and probably will lose more before it starts to come back around. So I believe Uber will come back around, I believe XRP will come around, and all the rest of it. So Uber are on the base of a promise that eventually it will turn a profit. So at the moment there isn't enough people that believe that to drive the value of the shares up. I believe XRP will be a big part in Uber turning a profit, because a massive part of their sort of cost and compliance and all the rest of it comes through payments, and having to service payments in so many different countries and having to have the compliance to do that. So I believe that, you know, corporates are going to have a new solution soon. So this is what I'm banking my bets on. As for the rest of you who all of a sudden think that it's going to moon and it's going to do this and it's going to do that, it's fine. Now, from a trading standpoint, from a TA standpoint, from a crypto in a bullish market because of economic and geopolitical things, then yeah, crypto's got a chance of going up to, you know, anywhere from 80 to 150, maybe $2. So, because I don't think you realise the amount of value that is actually required in order to move XRP. So even on 3 or 4 billion availability on the exchanges, the spreads on that are pretty tight. They've done well getting the spreads down. So you're still looking at a lot of money to make it move. And this is what people don't get. So yeah, you might get those little jumps and all the rest of it. But I would hope after the fucking years of research and everything that Love for Crypto have done and put out there and said and blah, that you'll understand that this is an investment. So if you want to set yourself a little trading account up and play with, you know, a couple of thousand XRP and do the rest of that, fine, do that. So keep your main stash held and crack on. So, and enjoy the market while you're doing it. You know, if you want to start swapping it into other assets when you think are going to jump and do this and do that, hopefully you've been paying attention on the ones that do move with the market the most. So from my own perspective, Aurora moves, Chainlink moves. Every time you get this bullish alt season, or this alt sort of pump that comes after Bitcoin, they're the coins that move the most. So pay attention to them, and hopefully you might be able to flip something from that trading account into something else. But what we don't have yet is access to liquidity, because we don't have access to the banks that are on RippleNet, because there is no regulations and it is still the Wild West. Now the biggest part of this is KYC and AML. Now they are just starting to crack down on that. FAF have just started to crack down on it. Exchanges will be told that they have to comply, and they'll only be able to deal with these exchanges if it's bought here, done there, done all the rest of it. Right, crypto isn't free and P2P. I don't give a shit what people think. So in order for it to be accessed by fiat, it is going to have to be KYC'd and AML. I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter saying that I need to learn more, and I just thought, you know, I'm not having this argument on an open public forum. I can't be arsed. So fiat currencies are not going anywhere unless the fiat currency in that particular country is already dead. Now when that happens, that's when you're going to get the likes of USDX come into play. So because they can issue a central bank currency and they can peg that to XRP, which is pegged to the dollar. So it's not pegged to the dollar, but it's got an equivalent value. So their interest and their inflation will be the same as the dollar, the same as the GBP, the same as. So because their central bank currency is pegged to XRP. Now that's a real benefit. So a real benefit. And it takes the pressure off the Fed, because another way for them to do it would be to peg it to a stable coin. Now the only way they could do that would be to peg it to the dollar. Now the dollar is already very, very, very high in demand, and there is already a shortage of it in Europe, a shortage of it in the Middle East. There is a shortage of the dollar. So they did that through quantitative tightening and through running off their balance sheets. So America have been squeezing, so the Fed have been squeezing, which Donald Trump has been criticising, even though when he was running for president, he was all for it. So saying that, you know, we should be tightening, we should be, and then he changed his tune. Because basically he got into the White House and he sat down for a briefing, everything was told to him, and he was like, ah, fuck, best change my tune. And that's exactly what happened. So that is the difference that Kurt talks about between candidate Trump and President Trump. Because the candidates haven't got a fucking clue until they get into office the state of the actual economy. And that is when they are told. That's when he goes to war with the Fed, saying we need to do this, we need to do this, because it's at a very, very, very finite tipping point. And we are at that finite tipping point. So, but we need access to the banking system. So X-Rapid accounts and X-Rapid customers need access to RippleNet, which they haven't got, and they need it desperately. So now David Schwartz talked about this problem unwinding very quickly when regulations are in place, and it will. So because the second, we already have global customers, so we already have people like Santander, BNP Paribas, we already have mass global customers, PNC, that have nostros everywhere. So if they've got a nostro relationship in that country and they can service that country, then the exchange can have an account with them to service those customers. I don't understand why people think that these 2, 3, 4 cent rise things matter. They only matter if you're trading. I am personally an investor. I don't trade that much, so I don't really see the point in it. So there's too much at stake when you trade, especially when you trade at leverage, because all you're doing is utilizing stuff that you haven't got. Yes, you can get massive gains from a very small position, but you can also get massively wrecked from a very small position. And I don't understand the risk reward factor in it, because it's just too volatile. The market is just too volatile. Now Kurt's doing it the right way. He's got a little tiny trading account on BitMEX, and he's doing it with small amounts of capital, not really leveraged that much, and enjoying his life. And if he keeps doing that every single day and keeps winning every single day, that little amount will soon compound into a bigger amount. And it's good, and that's the bottom line. But all these fucking idiots that keep thinking, these 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents jumps, this is it, it's going to the moon. They're full of shit, man. Right, XRP has the ability to go to all-time highs, $2-3, on geopolitical, on a bullish crypto market, and when the tide turns from people like Fidelity and Bakkt and all the rest of it. But in order to reach its true value, it needs repositioning of nostros, it needs repositioning of ETFs, it needs reproducing of dividends, it needs access to the other markets. Now once regulations are in place, it can do that. And once Ripple start announcing their partners, and their partners start announcing that they are using XRP for on-demand liquidity, and you see this monumental shift in sentiment from investors, that yes, it is the real deal, yes, it is going to be used, yes, it is being used, and it's only going to get bigger and better, because there is nothing on the con side, because there is nothing on the con side to XRP at all. So from an investment strategy, it's fantastic for the long haul. From a speed strategy, it's fantastic. From a transparency, it's fantastic. It sits behind all the current regulations, so it's fully compliant. There is no cons. There is only the cons to the exchanges and the actual crypto market. And that is what is holding XRP back. It isn't XRP, it isn't RippleNet, it isn't Ripple, it isn't Ripple's customers. It is the fact that it is an exchange based and it is not KYC compliant globally. That is what is holding it back. So, and that will not change until the regulations are in place. Now these are going to start coming through thick and fast. Pakistan have just announced. So you've got the G20 hot on it, you've got FAFT on fucking crypto regulations for exchanges. You've got all this that's going on in the background. All of it. So, and it's going to take time, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, who fucking knows how long it's going to take. But only then can it release its true value. So yes, during a bullish crypto market, if it eats some of Bitcoin's share, all the rest of it, you may see $5, $10, $15. So, but you won't see that shift from the banking sector until all of this is fucking ironclad. And you won't. And when it's ironclad, that's when you'll see the shift. Yes, you've got banks like SCB dropping hints that they are going to use it and all the rest of it. Thailand's quite far in advance with its regulations, but it can only use it on corridors from them to Japan, because that's the only place where it's all AML'd and KYC'd. So yes, they are a big bank, but they're only servicing one corridor. And it's only when they can service all corridors does it come into play. And that's going to take some fucking time. So when you're all sat there thinking that it's the 2-3 cent rise and this is it and it's going to the fucking moon, it isn't. And it won't. Which is why I keep having these fucking rants and why I keep losing my rag with everybody that's posting all over the place. Have your holdings, some of your holdings, allocate for playing and gaining in a bullish market. Don't sit on it all if you're fucking strapped for cash. Said this before. So, if you want to keep accumulating and you can afford to and you're happy with it, then crack on. So personally speaking, I'd be looking at the moment at other projects that have short-term potential. Because there is a lot of stuff that has short-term potential. So people are enjoying massive gains from Hollow, including myself. I have Hollow holdings. So it's a short-term thing. I think it's a long way off in the future, but I'm enjoying the gains. So am I going to sell any of it? Or am I just going to hold it? I'm probably just going to hold it because I don't need to cash anything in, and I'd rather see projects I believe in come to fulfillment. And that's my honest opinion on it. So others aren't in the position that I'm in, and yeah, they should sell out and they should, you know, make use of the gains. So rebuy in to a certain percentage if it drops and all the rest of it, because all it is doing at the moment is trading in a speculative market. So it's up and down, it's up and down, it's up and down. You know what I mean? Fuck me, swing trading works for a reason. TA works for a reason. Because at the moment it's highly relevant. It is a speculative market, and TA trends dominate speculative markets. Utility is a different story. When this goes to bat properly, TA won't have a fucking clue what's going on. So it'll just be vertical lines everywhere, because that's what it'll be like. So Bitcoin's never going to have that. It's not going to have it the way XRP's got it. XRP's going to dominate the markets. We all know this. But it could be 2 years down the line from now. We don't fucking know. You know, why everyone's sat there waiting for this fucking one to come, it baffles the mind, man. It's stupidity. It's pure stupidity. Everyone that's in this room knows fucking different. So when we have nights, like I check the chat and it fucking infuriates me, because I sit there thinking, you all know better. We've all spent fucking thousands of hours putting together a clear strategy and a clear investment perspective for it that's pretty well backed by documentation. But, you know, we're going to chuck all that out the window when it goes up 3 cents and say, for some fucking reason, without regulations, this is the one. Do you think? I don't know. You tell me. So, you're going to get some movement before regs. It's going to happen. So, people always know more than other people. So, somebody on the hill, somebody on Wall Street, somebody else will always know more. So, Jesse's highlighted some key dates for the Financial Services Commission. So, it's pretty quick from introduction to TTA to forming a task force to going into their first meeting, sort of 2-3 months. That's pretty fast acting. This is all going to take time, guys. What might happen in the very near future is, if the stocks carry on downturning, you might find more people removing from the stock market and putting into crypto. So you might start to see crypto soak up a little bit of the stocks. So, but that's pretty much it. So plunge protection, payment protection, they will come into play in the stock markets. So because it is a dollar value at the end of the day, they need to protect the capital markets. So Pakistan, today they released a thing saying they are sick of a 2-year downtrend. So they are going for a 50 billion buyback into their stock markets, which is a massive buyback for Pakistan. So you might want to look at access into their stocks, because that's going to go live in the next 7 to 10 days. So broad spectrum on that. So find an ETF that's based on those products. Have a bit of fun with it. But you know what I mean? You're sat on useless capital doing nothing and waiting and waiting. It's like playing the lottery every fucking day. And for those numbers and those magic numbers. So Swell's interesting this year though. Where it is, who's speaking. That's in November as well, which is later than normal for Swell. Normally it's October. It's in November. So, in one of the financial capitals of the world. Bit of a letdown last year, Swell was. I don't think it will be this year. I think you'll see a plethora of announcements coming towards the end of this year. But I don't think you're going to see anything major until Q4. I'd be very, very, very surprised. So I've been having a bit of fun with my avatars. So I've got a tent. Everyone refers to this tent. Where is this tent? If you look at the moment, it's packed up on a backpack doing absolutely fuck all. So infrastructure, regulations, access to capital markets, that is when Moon comes. So real utility will drive real value. Yes, speculation can drive all-time high price, $5, $10, $15. So SBI going live, doing this with margin trading, all the rest of it, could easily drive the price up to that. So there's no doubt in my mind that it can achieve $10 to $15 just on minimal institutional investment and sort of 20-30% of retail investment allocation. But the real money shot comes from access to the banks, which we do not have and we will not have without fucking regulations. Fuck me. When it starts, it starts. Rant over. I do love you all.